Architecture, we are into architecture, interiors, and sustainability. That's our core expertise. And myself, I'm a lead AP. And this is something that guides the process in our building design. We have been recently rated as one of the best top 10 sustainability architects in India. Uh, so, what should sustainability mean to us? I mean, is it only buildings, or is it sustainability for human beings and life in holistically speaking? So, with the current examples of the whole climate change that has already started happening, we foresee targets of temperature increase down the line, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line. But nowadays also you're seeing a lot of surge of temperatures. There are events like, heavy rainfall. You had cases in Wayanad. You have cases in New York where the bridge is not opening because of thermal expansion. So issues like this, and then you have, roof falling at the Delhi airport. So these kind of issues are an outcome of, big thing that is happening in the world, which is called climate change. So I would like to bring upon this discussion with the perspective of sensitizing ourselves when we are doing our entire architectural and engineering design process, because we only as architects are not wholly responsible for the entire, building construction. So every other expert is also involved in this. There's a conventional approach and there is a new approach with sustainable method that we should always implement. We as architects always would like to bring about something which is an intrinsic part right in the beginning of the whole development, where we are talking about initial design. We have to take care of the orientation. We have to take care of the uh, the way the building is laid out, the shape of the building. So everything has its impact on the overall design. So what we do is that we do this process of box modeling, and we take care of the orientation. And there's a huge difference with respect to, let's say, the orientation, and it impacts the results to a very great extent. So if these things are taken care of right in the beginning, we are ultimately going to achieve the result that we want to achieve. And where I'm coming from is that we are not necessarily talking about a certification. We're not talking about platinum certification or any other certification. We are talking about as much as we can now, because now is the time to think about beyond certification. So our approach has to be process driven, and that's how we are doing. We are doing box modeling. We are orienting the building in the right way. We are having the correct shape of the building so that it does not develop a lot of heat island effect or some kind of vortex effect with the wind also. And in a way, certain natural factors cool down the building in a good way. So as you can see, in the initial period itself, these things are done, and then further on, this process ultimately informs the final design. And after the final design, also all the fundamentals are taken care of in the further process, into the sanctions, into the working drawings, and into the construction supervision. The kind of waste management techniques that we can adopt precast, prefabricated, and a lot of other techniques to reduce waste, do things with precision, and reuse, recycle. All these things are very important. So we do wind simulations also. This helps us in identifying how natural elements like wind can really cool down the building. And of course, the shape of the building is also something that, is an outcome of this analysis. Next is about the shadow analysis. These are also studies which are conducted, and this plays a lot of role in not only your own building, but the surrounding buildings also play a lot of major role in the amount of heat that you'll be gathering in your building. So that is something which we take care of. I will just move forward. What we want to also focus upon is not only the utility bills that we are talking about. As we are talking about human-centric approach, any business, let's say if it's in a hospital or any building, The major portion of its expenditure is in salaries, or let's say the experience that patient undergoes in case of hospitals, and the kind of experience that they have, that has a major cost to the healthcare project or the property. And the rest of the things are you know other parts which fill in the whole pie. So here we should also focus on how a human experience is there. So yes, we discuss things holistically about the climate and things on a larger scale. That is, of course, being taken care of with a lot of energy efficiency modeling, and a lot of experts are involved in these things. So different orientations first, then we have a different material usage as a second step. And subsequently, we also discuss about the amount of daylighting that should be there in a building. So there's a right balance of heat intake versus natural light that is minimum required in a hospital. So the correct window to wall ratio is something that we have to always arrive at, because sufficiency of natural light is very important in healthcare projects. Uh, Natural light is known to be very therapeutic for human recovery in case of illness. So, so this is a challenge, and that's where we strike a balance between heat intake and amount of natural light that should come in healthcare spaces. So, by the correct proportion of window to wall ratio is where we strike this balance. And as you can see here, these softwares guide us as to how the whole envelope is subject to either extra heat, or let's say some faces are not facing that much heat and are cold, or vis-a-vis, let's say, the amount of daylighting which is there, or very less daylighting which is there. So these softwares help us in informing the design and taking decisions on how the thing should be. So these are some hospitality projects also that we had, modeled and reviewed. These are more of hotel projects. So these kind of studies are also conducted by us, and the shadow analysis, the amount of natural light that will be coming around in the building. In different, seasons, we can evaluate how much light is there in each of these areas, and that informs the amount of heat, or let's say the amount of light that we want to have. So the role of an architect is to strike a balance between both, and we have to take a judicious call in these aspects. So it's both ways that we do our design. We do our studies with respect to the softwares as well as our own studies, as I said. So a very basic study I would show here is with respect to different materials that are used in a building. This is just to show you graphically how much impact that could be there with use of certain walls or certain materials. So if you say this blue line is with full concrete walls, you see the amount of heat intake that will come inside the building. Then you have a brick wall, that is a 230 mm clay brick wall. Then you have another orange line over here is with AC blocks. And further down, you see insulation inside the walls. Then you make the graph go down further. So these are the graphs which can show you directly as to what material I should choose while making a building. And why should I choose a certain material? There are housing projects across everywhere being built in Maivan construction or any other concrete construction. So you can see the amount of heat that will come inside the building. So these are very high thermal capacity. So these are going to absorb heat a lot. So you have to choose for your own project as to which material I should use. So we talked about orientation of the building. We talked about wind analysis. We talked about now materials. So this is something that is showing clearly. Now, if I talk about the roof, now what kind of roof So this is a pure RCC roof, and then you have tile plus RCC roof. Then you have tile plus XPS insulation with RCC roof, and then you have green roof. So my whole presentation here is, oriented towards sensitizing ourselves towards the level of impact that could be there with each of these components, each of these stepwise, parameters that are there to design a building. So a lot of these energy factors and water factors, these are taken care of, and these benefit the, owners at a big level. But when it comes to the users and the ultimately the, likability of the space and the likability of the hospital and people coming back to be getting treated over there, these are the aspects which are supposed to be done properly, and really that impacts the mental well-being and the mindfulness of design. So we particularly are focusing on these aspects, and there are various parameters that most of the experts know about, the light effects and the sound effects, and the air quality and everything. So in hospitals, these are things which should be of high priority. So we are focusing on the occupant health in these cases. So this is the crux of the matter. I would like to finish the topic here. Thank you.